I've told like bits and pieces of like why I started streaming, but let's do the whole story because most of you guys, Bobby Boy knows, he called it. Most of you guys don't know that I've actually been streaming since I would say early 2013, late 2012. Oh man, how old would I have been? Fuck, I gotta do math now. I would have been 15. My lifelong dream was I wanted to be a famous YouTuber. I was ahead of the curve. All right, 2012 Elijah wanted to be a famous YouTuber. But before I tell you why I got into streaming, I need to tell you about today's sponsor, Opera GX, because they actually have a setting that I wish I knew about before starting streaming. Specifically, their streaming profile option, which by default makes sure that your history, your recent searches, and any other auto-filled websites are hidden, which, if you've typed in your address before, really helps. Just 3 clicks to add a new profile, and from there, you can customize exactly what you want on or off by default, like auto-muting a new tab when you open it, so some video doesn't just start automatically playing something in the background. So if you're a streamer like me, that already sounds pretty awesome, but to make it even better, if you download right now, Opera GX will give you $12 off a monthly subscription to Streamlabs, one of the go-to tools for streamers. Or if you're just a viewer of streams, that's fine too, because the Twitch extension on the sidebar is perfect for getting live pings when your favorite streamer goes online, which I would hope is me, or even just monitoring streams while you're getting other work done. So if all of this sounds great, you can easily switch over by using their import tool function, meaning you can take all of your current browser settings, such as bookmarks and history, and quickly sync them over, meaning no fuss to set up. Just make sure you use the first link in the video description to download Opera GX today and get started. And again, Opera, thank you so much for sponsoring this video. I remember asking my mom and dad, I want a capture card. And in 2012, my parents got me the very first Elgato HD60, I think. My very first stream, Black Ops 2, for like 2 hours. And that was my very first stream. And I think I peaked at something like 3 viewers. Looking back at it, 3 viewers in 2012 on a very first stream is crazy to look back at. I had an actual chatter, okay, who was in chat the whole time. It was like mind-boggling back then. Where can we see the VODs? Dude, there's no fucking shot those VODs exist unless Twitch somehow has an archive of it. Because Lord knows I didn't record it. My computer couldn't record it. My computer was barely capable of streaming it. And I started to do it quite regularly. I would do it probably like once or twice a week on the days that I didn't do gymnastics. I play a bunch of different games. I played mainly COD, like Black Ops 2 and Zombies. I played a lot of fucking zombies. And again, back then, the reason I started streaming was I just wanted to be famous. I thought it was going to be the easy route to like money and fame. Boy, was I wrong. And then for a while, I tried some YouTube, which we've seen those videos. I've shown those videos on stream. It's so fucking cringe. I tried editing like funny moments videos, very similar to like Vanoss Gaming. So I tried to edit funny moments videos, and I did that for years, dude. And I would constantly upgrade my setup. I'd get like a new capture card or a new computer. And I did that probably all the way up until 2018. And I ended up getting about 2,000 followers on that Twitch page. I wonder if I can find the name again. Hold on. Yeah, I got 2.6 thousand followers. That was that was what I gathered in 5 years of streaming. I stopped streaming because at the time, the group of friends that I had, and they know I stream now, and they might watch this, and I don't care. They really didn't support me. I was constantly that guy that was like, why are you streaming to 5 viewers? Blah, blah, blah. And so every time I'd like play a game, I'd be like, hey guys, I'm gonna stream it. And they'd be like, why? No one's gonna watch. Let's just play. So I fell out of love with streaming. That was honestly a really sad time. I actually like always thought about going back to it, but never really committed to it. But in the back of my head, I was always like, I want to be a famous creator. Like I wanted to have an audience that I could share things with, right? It wasn't even about the fame and money anymore. It had pivoted to having an avenue to be creative on. Fast forward to today. Well, not all the way to today. Late 2022. I am married to Taylor. I am living in this apartment, and she started to try to encourage me to stream again. And, you know, I hesitated for a while. I was like, oh, I don't know if I should. I really don't know if I should. This was while I was still at my old job in IT. Finally, after a little bit, I encouraged myself. I finally built up the courage to do like a handful of streams, like October of 2022. But again, it felt nice to just kind of force myself to play games in an avenue that like I had to play games. You know what I mean? One thing that I've struggled with a lot is sometimes I have like decision paralysis of what video game to play. because there's so many games in my list that I end up either not playing a game or I default to the same game over and over again. But when I started streaming in October, it kind of forced me to go, okay, no, I have to play something. My very first game on stream was Dead by Daylight. And I played a handful of times before things forced me to pause again for almost a whole year. I got hired at Linus Media Group. Now, I know I'm breaking rule 1. I don't like to talk about my work on stream, but it's relevant to the story, okay? It's relevant. I've been caught, chat. Ban him, mods, get him. No, okay. I got my job in February of 2023, and I didn't stream basically from that moment till like November of 2023. And the reason I stopped was because I became so busy and consumed with work, I didn't even think about streaming. I was just like, I want to do a good job. I fought hard to get this position. I am now foot in the door at the company. I'm going to give 210% of my effort because I don't want to leave here. That was my attitude I had at the beginning, right? And it worked. I'm very happy with that. I decided to take that route. Was this when you were in logistics? Yes, this was when I was in the logistics department. So I was responsible for just moving boxes, and I also got to really meet a lot of people and got to be friends with like everyone at the company because I had to interact with everyone. So it was really good, just good starting point, right? Fast forward to LTX 2023. I was helping James on the stage, and we got to talking a bit. James is the head of writing. And after talking for a bit, he sent me an email later asking me if I wanted to join a new position in the writing department as junior writer. I hummed and hawed for a bit. I was like, I don't know. I knew it was going to be a lot of work, but it was also like an insane opportunity. And the reason he asked me was because I got to talk to him about my IT background. I got to talk to him about just my computer passion in general. I appeared very knowledgeable. I helped with a lot of the IT support at LTX 2023. That's something people don't know. Anytime that someone had a computer issue, I got a fucking text message and had to go to that booth and fix it. I did basically everyone's IT support for the entire fucking event, dude. Fucking hell. This is where this next part of the story, the reason I did all that backstory about like that is because the next part of the story is what made me re-fall in love with streaming and why I started again. I went to Ariana's home upgrade, the shoot where I got a concussion, okay? And that was the first time that I had to really be funny for a long period of time. You know, Linus was cracking jokes. I had to crack jokes back. It was the first time that I had to be on. And when I was done and I got home, I was insanely tired. Not just because of the concussion I just had. I realized that mentally I had just tried to be funny for the last 8 hours. And it's one of those things that I tell people and they're like, okay, and you don't realize how tough that is, dude. Oh my God. You know how hard it is to like try to come up with quick comebacks and like start lines and be intelligent after 8 fucking hours? It sucks ass. It sucks ass, dude. And so after that shoot, I basically decided, how am I going to practice this? Because now that I'm in the writing department, am I going to be on camera more? I didn't know the answer yet. I didn't know if it was yes. I didn't know if it was no. So what I did was I wanted to practice having those verbal banters. And the only way I could practice that and thought of it was streaming again. I just tried streaming. And I was like, whoever comes in here, I'm just never going to stop talking for 8 hours straight. And I remember some of my early streams were like 2, 3, 4 hours long. And my sole goal was to never have longer than 15 seconds of silence unless I was locked into like what I was doing or something, right? I was like, I have to talk the entire time. I have to be entertaining. When people click on the stream, there should be no silence. There should be something happening. It was during this time period where I was using Twitch as a method to practice that I really started to fall back in love with it. I started to remember why I did it back in 2020 or 2013. It was because like I could have people come in and have the same interests as me, or even it was just funny banters back and forth. But like I started to fall in love with just this aspect that I could have an impact on people's lives that had the same impact back on me in a weird non-parasocial way. And you fast forward to today, that is why I'm a streamer. I'm a streamer with a day job is how I categorize myself now. Streaming has become something that is so much bigger than I could have ever imagined. Like, there's 100 of you here right now. There's 125 of you here right now. That's crazy. That's a mind-boggling number. So I think why I started streaming, because I love it and I have so much fun doing it. And I honestly think that if there was a world where I could stream 16 hours a day, every single day, and have someone else take care of the YouTubes and the edits and the merch and everything else, I would do it. I would actually be live 16 hours every day. I love it so much. Honestly, a lot of this you could thank is because of Taylor. She gave me the confidence to break that original curse that I had back in, 2022. Fell out of love with streaming for a while, and she encouraged me to go back into it, even though it was to a handful of people for a couple months. But what it did was it re-put it in the back of my mind. When you blow up, don't forget about us. Who are you? Sorry.